Good morning, Christ Connect. I'm recording this on late Saturday afternoon, and there's already a thin layer of ice over everything. I've heard some reports of people falling and getting injured, so I hope that you are somewhere safe and warm, maybe in your pajamas with a cup of coffee or hot tea. On the positive side, the Weather Channel app is reporting that the risk of mosquitoes is very low right now. So I guess even the mosquitoes don't like the snow and the ice. As you may recall, in the fall, we went through the Gospel of Mark. We spent about 4 months going through the Gospel. But even at that pace, there were some things we had to skip over in something of a hurry. So I'd like to take just a moment to focus on one of those ideas with you this morning. Starting in chapter 6, verse 30, the apostles returned to Jesus from a ministry tour. Jesus says to the apostles, "Let's get away from the crowds for a while and rest." Now, they've been doing good things, preaching, teaching, healing, but Jesus knew it was important to find time to rest, and he wanted to spend time with his disciples. However, the crowds found him, and there were so many people coming and going that it says Jesus and the disciples didn't even have time to eat. So they got in a boat and headed off for a quieter spot. But the people saw where they were going, and they ran ahead of them, so that when Jesus and the apostles landed on the shore, there was a crowd waiting for them. Instead of being upset, it says Jesus had compassion on the crowd because they were like sheep without a shepherd. So Jesus fed them. He fed 5,000 men, plus women and children, with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. Now that in itself is an amazing miracle, but the thing I like to focus on this morning is that immediately after feeding the crowd, Jesus sent the people home, he sent the disciples out into the boat, and Jesus went up into the mountain alone to pray. Several years ago, Henri Nouwen wrote a well-known essay called Moving from Solitude to Community to Ministry. And he talks about this interplay between Jesus spending time alone in prayer, spending time together with his apostles, and spending time ministering to the crowd. He says it's in solitude that ministry begins. That's where Jesus draws upon God's strength and refocuses his ministry in a needy world. But then this leads to community, where Jesus and the disciples practice the disciplines together. They learn what it means to celebrate, to love, and to forgive, because those are things that can only be learned in community. And this leads to ministry. He says, when you are aware that you are loved by God, and you're surrounded by a community of celebration and forgiveness, then our gratitude to God and our compassion for others will lead us to minister to hurting people. So today, as we are forced out of the busyness of our routine, I want to encourage you to take some time to just relax, reflect on God's blessings. There'll be plenty of time later for work, for activity, for ministry, and we'll talk about some of those opportunities next Sunday. But use this time that we've been given to rest in God's love, to hear him speak to your soul. Then you'll be ready to minister to others when that time comes. So thank you for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you next Sunday when we will celebrate what God has done in the past year. We will look forward to some of the things he may be calling us to in the coming year, and I hope to see you then.